Thanks for tuning in to the Palm Beach Podcast, a weekly show highlighting people making a positive impact in Palm Beach County. With your hosts, sports chiropractor and athletic trainer, Dr. James Spencer, photographer and art director, Mike Jones. Our show is brought to you by Pump House Coffee Roasters, Hopportunities, Indo Board, and Lotus Trips for travel and retreats to Palm Beach County. Hello, and welcome to the Palm Beach Podcast. And today I'll say hola as well.
See,
my name's Mike Jones. I'm sitting at Media Zone with a couple cool people. Dr. James Spencer, how you doing today?
you know, always a pleasure to see you. Unfortunately, not blue sunny skies today here in South Florida.
It was a little overcast, but we had some waves, so I'm not complaining.
Yeah, why don't you introduce our special guest today?
Well, I think that today is a very special day because you are someone that's very relatable to Spence and I. Someone that comes from a background in sports and stepped into media production and creation. So Carolina, thank you so much for coming into Media Zone.
Oh, thank you for having me. I'm really excited.
I'm going to let you pronounce your last name.
Romero.
Sure, you have to roll the R.
Yeah, but just a little. Make it natural. Do it. Try it.
Beautiful. And what do you,
Romero.
And what do you
There you
think?
go.
And what do you think about Media Zone?
I mean, I gotta say that this place is. I mean, you got everything. You got everything. It's perfect.
Pump House coffee, fridge full of Mighty
Swell.
Swells.
Yeah.
I mean, this has to be the best thing I've had in like at least 3 days.
Wow, that's a very long time.
You hear that, Mighty Swell?
That is really good.
And so I know Spence, being a chiropractor, kind of has worked with golfers in the past, and you guys have both mentioned names and just when we were talking before we jumped on today. But why don't you tell people a little bit about your journey to becoming this person in Palm Beach County that is a golf, fitness, in front of the camera, sort of, I don't know, a little
Influencer,
bit.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, it all happened kind of like by accident, to be honest with you. So I moved down from New York like about 5 years ago now. Yeah, that's actually 5 years ago exactly, in August. And I knew I wanted to be, I wanted to work with seniors. So I wanted to be a senior personal trainer. I actually did a full career change. So I went from being in finance, like Wall Street. I was like, this is really not for me. I cannot be doing this for the rest of my life. Like, I'm making so much money and it's so hard to walk away from it, but like I can always come back. I have to give it a shot. Mm-hmm. So I did, what everybody told me not to do because it was a stupid decision and I don't regret it ever. So moved down and I started working with seniors right away. It was the beginning of season. You guys know Palm Beach County is so seasonal. So I was booked. I loved it. I was loving every second of it. And then May comes around and all of my seniors, which are also snowbirds, they leave and all of a sudden I just have all this free time. I'm going crazy. Remember, this is my first summer, so I'm not really used to this. Like, I don't really know what to expect. It was something that I honestly didn't even consider when I was thinking about moving down. And all of a sudden I have all this free time. So I start writing golf articles and writing stuff about golf fitness. And then I remember nobody likes to read anymore. So I started making videos. Some videos I remember there was one video where I went to downtown Delray. It was like middle of the summer. And I am just sweating. I am dying. I'm trying to film like a golf fitness video on the floor. It was just super sloppy. But you know what? Like, it worked. Like we made it happen. And, we were just talking about this, how slowly but surely the videos got better. And people actually started watching. This is really funny. At the beginning, when I started my YouTube channel, I would like put the video out and then I would send it to my mom. And my mom would send it to all of her friends. And it's just like, just open it. It doesn't matter if you even watch it. Remember, my mom's in Colombia. So they probably didn't even understand what I was talking about. But just open it. We just need the view. And
you get a like from mom on the video and you're like, oh yeah.
Oh yeah, it was just like, I need you to start a YouTube account for dad and the dog and the grandpa and the grandpa. And then please log into all of them and like it and comment, please. And it's funny because she still does, which is the sweetest thing,
Biggest supporters, all of our
Yeah.
parents, right?
Yep. Like sometimes it's the cutest. She's the first one to comment. She just likes it. She shares it. It's the best. So she was my biggest fan back then. She still is, but it's funny because, back then I had to basically beg people to watch my video. And then slowly but surely I realized that it just kind of like grew, and I didn't have to do that anymore, which was awesome. And that's kind of like where we are now, just still making videos. And we've tried different kinds of content, vlogs, golf fitness videos, which is the core of the channel, and product reviews, all that kind of stuff. Just trying to basically provide value, whether it's entertainment or informational or fitness, to the people that watch. I think that's the most important thing, just because, if you're not providing value, you're just literally, this is kind of rough, but I was going to say disposable.
Sure.
Or replaceable.
Exactly.
Right. And the one thing I'd like to touch on too is what do you use to film? Because this is something that I think people get hung up on. They're too scared if they don't have the proper equipment, etc. Tell the viewers a little bit about what you use and just get started.
Well, it's funny because I still use exactly what I used when I started, which is my iPhone. So back then, I had like an iPhone 5 because that's what we had, and that's what I filmed with, and it was fine. Nobody could tell the difference. You really can't tell the difference. And honestly, I love the fact that with, like Apple, you can just airdrop it to your computer and it's so easy to edit. The thought of having to connect a cable to my camera to send it over, or like Wi-Fi connection. I know that you don't really do that with cables anymore, but it's just easy. Make it easy for you. It doesn't matter. Like, you're not really going to be able to tell, oh, this is 4K. Whatever that means. I don't really know.
So you can see my pimples better,
Yeah, I'm just throwing out there big words to sound like I know what I'm talking about. It doesn't matter. So as long as you're like providing value somehow and the quality is decent enough, it's not gonna matter.
So like, if you could split the amount of time that it takes you to make a video, how much time do you worry about the equipment versus how much time do you worry about writing a script? Most people spend the script is the afterthought almost, or, the bullet points that you want to talk about, and you're more concerned about how's this light, how's this microphone.
Like the equipment is like the last thing. Like, it doesn't even matter. The equipment is like, I don't know, like putting your shoes on before you walk out. It's like you just do it before you start.
Sure.
But it's not even a thought, I have a set of $30 Amazon lights that I bought at some point, and I keep those in my car. I don't even know how they still work and haven't melted from,
Sure.
the Florida heat. So whenever I'm at, if I'm filming at the gym, I just get the box and I just bring it in and set it up and just go to town. Just do it. But it's really not something that's ever stopped me. The one thing that I was kind of like particular about was the sound, because I remember as a normal YouTube consumer, it really bothered me whenever somebody put out a video that had crappy sound. And in gyms, you have this echo, and it's just like you're hearing this human talking, and they're just like seem like they're so far away, like it's just not gonna do it. So I just bought a wireless mic off Amazon, $150. That's it. Like, that's literally it. My iPhone, my $30 lights, and my $150 wireless mic from Amazon, and that's it. So like, just if you're thinking about it, just start. Don't even worry about.
You might have to do a gear review video, or like an unboxing.
I know. I'm gonna unbox my $30 lights.
Yeah.
They need that review though.
I know.
And it's interesting because I know you said that you've spent some time up north, that the season like up there is the summer. Like, everyone's going to the beaches and everything else, where in Florida, like the winter is actually the season, because everyone's escaping the cold and coming to Florida, where we have like 70 degrees in December.
You can't beat that. The weather in season is just so awesome. I love season. In my mind, there's only 2 seasons. Like, there's season and off season.
Yes.
Fall, spring, what is that? Like, no.
I was going to say hot and hotter, but
there
yes,
you go. There you go. I like that too.
Yeah.
So, or busy. No, busier and not busy.
Correct.
Sure.
But with the whole situation of season being so busy, it's almost too much. It's almost like 3 billion% versus 10%.
Yeah, there's no middle ground here. It's all or nothing, right?
Yeah, but I used to think about it as like, this sucks. This is a curse. I can't believe I didn't think about this. I should have gone somewhere else. And now, it took me a couple of years to honestly be okay with it. But after a couple of years now, I've been able to accept that this is actually great. Like, I can just work my butt off for 6 months of the year. save some money, and then the rest of the year I'm able to create new things. I'm able to travel. I'm able to just do all these awesome things that most people just can only dream of. Like, imagine how many people would love to basically be able to, I mean, I'm not really off, but like have like 10% of the amount of work they normally have for 6 months.
I mean, I 100% I can relate, and that's exactly how my business is as well. And just as Mike and I have talked, that's when we create the most content.
Yeah.
Stockpile for the next year.
Yeah, I mean, that's how Fit Golfer Girl got started. I was so bored. I was desperate. I needed something to do. So I thought about it. I was like, okay, I'm gonna do a golf fitness podcast, not podcast, a golf fitness YouTube channel. And this was a plan. I knew this is gonna be a business. It was not like, oh, I had Fit Golfer Girl. It was my personal account, then I turned it into blah blah. No, I knew this was gonna be a business. So I remember looking through Instagram. This is one of the things that actually really helped me. It's always great when you're one of the first people to do anything. So I'm looking through Instagram. I was not a big Instagram user back then. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to look for golf fitness people. And I'm like, how is nobody doing this? Like, what is wrong with all of you people? It's like, how is nobody doing golf fitness videos on Instagram? It's like, what?
And it sort of started like, it was like your own personal account, right? And then it turned into like, wow, there's so much traffic that you can make a business on Instagram.
Yeah, well, I mean, I wanted to advertise my blog at the time via Instagram. And then eventually the blog turned into a YouTube channel. And then, that's kind of like how it evolved. But it all started out of desperation of having nothing to do in the summer or the off season.
Sure.
And, it's like now a blessing. It's a blessing now. I love it. And I just completely changed my attitude around it. I'm no longer being like, oh, I can't believe that I'm not working as much. This sucks. I mean, it is a little bit hard to transition from being so busy to not being so busy. But now I'm like, oh, cool. See, it's off season now.
I can breathe.
Yeah.
It's funny because what you said, I've heard like almost verbatim from Spence with the, I'm just going to kick ass for 6 months or 7 or 8 months. And then for the rest of the year, go to Europe with my family or, write that seminar that I've been wanting to write or do something like that. And it's just, I think the difference that gets you to the level that you're at is that, you can be woe is me and this sucks, or you can adjust and capitalize on the situation. Hey, blogs aren't working that well, but man, YouTube is blowing up. I should make some videos. Or, hey, it's not season,
Yeah.
What am I going to do versus, I've got some time to work on things that I've been wanting to work on. So it's nice to see both of you sort of have that same trajectory of analyzing what's going on around you and making the most of it, which is really cool.
And it's funny because everything just keeps on evolving and you have to just pay attention and then make changes accordingly. I guess just like life.
Yeah.
And it's also just a lot of learning as well, what works, what doesn't work. And my whole motto, don't panic, adjust. Mm-hmm. Figure out what is working and double down on that. And again, learn from that and help others, add value. And I think you'll realize, let things grow with time. Don't force on to the next thing, because too often you may miss that, hey, that one thing was actually working and I'm chasing the next, and capitalize on that.
Yeah, and I think that for maybe a lot of people thinking about starting a channel or even an Instagram that they want to grow or whatever it is that people are thinking, it does take time, and it sucks because you're putting in all of this work for nothing. At first, it feels like, my mom's friends were watching the videos. They didn't even understand English. So
I love that.
Yeah.
It was a little discouraging, but then I just kept it up. I remember the year was 2017. And I remember I'm going to make a YouTube video every week. It was the worst year of my life. I just was basically filming or editing at all times.
That's a cool challenge, though. I like these internal bets on,
Mm-hmm.
I'm challenging myself to do this every week, every day.
I remember being like, I'm not going to change it, because if I change it, then all of a sudden I give myself an excuse to not do it. So granted, this YouTube video every week situation eventually kind of came to an end because it was just way too much. I had no balance. It was not good. But the fact that I was able to do that for a whole year really helped me just have content that I could always reuse and reshare. And the channel just kind of it was basically growing on autopilot, even though I was doing nothing. You know,
Sure.
it was just the value of the content took care of helping me grow without me having to do much.
It's a long-term investment.
Exactly.
Yeah, we live in this society where you post something and you get a like quick, where a lot of people don't have the long-term vision where, yeah, building a brand doesn't happen overnight,
No.
you know, and it takes a lot of time and people have to learn and grow with you.
Yeah.
And so it's very, very cool to see, you know, you guys both sort of say, hey, this is what I like to do and I'm just going to do it.
And I'd like to throw out too, like even the Elon Musk, when he started his company, I mean, it was, you know, damn near 18 years ago or 17 years ago when he first started to his first launch this year. Or like we talked about earlier with Joe Rogan, you know, just starting 10 years ago and then signs a $100 million contract. You know, it may be the same conversation he was having on the couch for his first podcast. And now everybody's laughing over at his studio. You know, so
Sure.
I think that's also just get started and see what this can turn into.
And keep going, even when it seems like it's not working, because it just takes time.
And so now that you're, you know, a Palm Beach County local, South Florida aficionado, we have to talk about some places that you like to go for drinks, for food, for experiences. What are some, you know, this is your chance to name drop a couple spots.
All right, so my favorite restaurant, which is funny because it's not like a fancy restaurant, but it's like the place where I eat the most. I mean, I eat there almost every day. Is Mike's Surf Shack in Delray Beach. I don't know if you guys have been there, but it's right on Federal. I mean, I go there every day to the point that they already know my order. Like I call and I'm like, oh, it's Carolina. Oh, hey Carolina, we'll have your order. And I'm like, oh wait, this is embarrassing. You know, like
Yeah.
I basically keep that place alive. I love Mike. I love everybody that works there. I feel like they're family, and I love their acai bowls. Their fish tacos are out of this world. Like, I just can't believe. I mean, this place is like a little shack. You've seen it. It's tiny.
I know
it's
exactly where it is.
so tiny.
You're making me hungry over here.
How
you know?
do they make such good food in such a tiny spot? Like, I have a normal sized kitchen and I can't even make cereal. You know,
And I know Mike and I love fish tacos too, so
Yeah.
I'm watering over here.
so good. I mean, it's nuts. So favorite restaurant for sure. Favorite spot to get drinks is actually Sandbar. You know, I always joke, it's like I like my drinks like I like my guys, nice and sweet. So
Yeah.
if it's like a sweet tropical drink, I'm down, and I know I can get it there. Something like frozen or something delicious and tropical. Like
Nothing wrong with a daiquiri or a pina colada
Exactly.
on a hot sunny day.
Exactly. So I purposely don't drink a lot. I'm a huge lightweight. So I have one drink and I'm just like, oh yeah, let's go. So that way I don't drink too many of those, because those are obviously really bad for you. But hey, you know, balance.
Live a
Hashtag
little.
balance.
Yeah.
Exactly. How about favorite golf course?
Oof, that's really hard. I mean, I think my favorite golf course in South Florida is Trump International in West Palm. So that place is private, but if you guys ever get a chance to go, like, just take it.
Beautiful
it's
view.
Insane.
Yeah, beautiful views there.
It's, you know, like South Florida is flat. Like, we don't really have like elevation. There's no hills, nothing. But somehow there they managed to build hills into the course, which is unbelievable. You don't even feel like you're in South Florida. It's really awesome, and it's also kind of close. I hate having to drive 1 billion hours west to the swamp to get to a good golf course. You know, this is right off of 95. Another awesome golf course, even though I haven't really played it yet, is like Banyan Cay. Same thing, right off of 95, beautiful, just really well kept. I'm a sucker for good conditions. You know, like if the golf course is not that interesting, even if the design is just like blah, if you're nice and the greens are nice and it's green and beautiful, I'm gonna love it.
Well, and you're speaking very humbly because you also need to tell the listeners about your golf background.
Yeah, so that's another. So I started playing golf when I was 9 years old. So I grew up in Colombia. My parents were golfers, and it just kind of happened. I wanted to ride horses initially, but my parents were like, it's too expensive. Do golf instead, because that's so much cheaper.
Still expensive.
I know. So
Smart parents.
they made me start, and I started, and I was winning a lot. So what 9-year-old doesn't love to win? So I just kind of got into it, and eventually I saw that there was an opportunity for me to get a scholarship to come to the United States to get my degree via golf. And that's kind of like my goal. That was my goal, you know, just come here, get my schooling, and just see what happened. I was never good enough, and I never loved golf enough to know that I wanted to be a pro. I mean, that was very clear to me.
Sure.
I was just like, in order to be a pro, you have to be so good, and you have to be so in love with the sport and so committed to the sport. I didn't have that, and I knew that. So, people ask me still, like, well, you're going to try to play on tour? And I'm like, first of all, I suck. Second of all, no, especially now that I don't play as much. But so I came here on my golf scholarship. I went to USF, the University of South Florida in Tampa. And,
Go Bulls.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then I just, actually pursued a career in finance for a couple of years and hated it. It's funny. I actually loved it. I just hated the environment, and I just couldn't imagine myself just sitting at a desk for the rest of my life. I saw a lot of my older coworkers, my bosses, just really, like, I looked at their life, and they're happy, they're just used to it. But at the same time, I was like, this is not for me. Like, I can't do this.
And like a decimal point in the wrong way, either to the left or the right, can really ruin your day. Just one decimal point.
I love it. That's awesome.
Yeah,
It's true. Like,
I wish
such
the
a
bank
tiny
would
thing
make a
could
little
cause a big
accounting
problem.
mistake and move that.
All of us.
Oh, okay, yeah, sure.
That's really cool. And here we are years later, and still golf is your career.
Yeah, so I, like I said, I wanted to be a senior trainer. And then when I moved down here, I realized that all of my seniors, they're retired, fabulous people, very different from what I thought it would be like, to be honest with you. I did not think that my seniors were going to be so awesome. They are living their best life. Like,
Awesome.
that's how I want to get old. Like the Palm Beach County seniors. They're out and about. They're having drinks with their friends. They're playing cards, playing golf, living the dream, literally. I was just like, what day is it today? They don't even know, because
Doesn't
every
matter.
day is a weekend. It's amazing.
That's awesome.
They're so awesome. It's unbelievable. So I was like, okay, well, all of you play golf. Like, what am I doing? Like, I have this skill. Granted, I hadn't played in 5 years. Literally, I hadn't touched a golf club in 5 years. I'm like, well, I'm going to suck big time, but it's a stupid thing for me not to take advantage of this. You ask a 65-year-old guy if he wants to, get in shape and lose some weight, or if he wants to hit the driver 10 yards longer, he's going to pick the second one.
See.
Hey.
And honestly, it's cool to realize, like, this young life skill is now like a little feather in the cap for you for your business.
I am so grateful that my parents made me pick golf. I'm sure horses would have given me a lot of opportunities
Sure.
too, but golf is just such a good skill to have. And it's such a hard skill to gain. It's so much better that I was able to learn this as a kid, as opposed to wait until I was like 30. Because let's be honest, if I was learning now, there's no way I would have the patience.
Sorry, Mike.
Yeah. My stepdad used to beat me up on the golf course real bad, and I would just, I was like, okay, I'm just gonna go surfing now. Like, I'm done playing golf. Like, I don't like to lose.
I'll see
Way
you later.
Too competitive.
It's so frustrating when you're trying as an adult, because it's so technical. There's a lot of sports where, first of all, you play in a team. So, you win as a team, but you also lose as a team. But golf is like, you are out there for 4 hours or more. And if it's a bad day, you're out there for 4 hours or more, suffering every second of it.
Pissed.
Yes.
It's a very introspective. It's so funny. It's just you and whatever's in between your two ears when you're out there, right?
Oh yeah, 100%. And that's another reason why I knew that I didn't have what it. I was never gonna be a golf pro, because I was a head case. So I was good enough to get to a competitive level, but I was also not good enough to know that I could control my brain when the pressure or the time came, to perform in any circumstance.
It's funny, we had a guest on, and he was an amateur golfer as well, and he said everything was great until they announced your name as you approached the tee box. He's like, I just lost it then. So it's funny to see the relatability in that.
Oh, that first shot is so terrifying. It's still terrifying.
And I know, like, recently the whole Michael Jordan series came out, and like a lot of people just love or hate him, but you almost have to have an alpha mentality to get to a certain level, and it's not relatable. Like, you're either a jerk or you're not an alpha, almost. It's him against the world, you against the world. And it's just interesting to see, because it's with surfing, it's very similar. You're just out there in the water. There's no one else on your team.
Plus golf, like, golf is so challenging and so competitive that, I mean, everybody's playing very good golf, and it's just a matter of one or two strokes or one or two hits that you may duff that changes you from top 5 to maybe top 50.
That's
You
true.
know, it's so competitive. So I think that's also that the mindset is a huge value to just being that little one up on people, or having a little bit of more confidence.
Oh, 100%. It's all in the head. But then again, you know, honestly, you know, I always say, I mean, golf has taught me a lot of lessons. One of the most important ones is that it taught me how to lose. You know, so you just get used to not always winning, and that just makes you work harder. And, you know, it just makes it so much easier for you to, you know, persevere in circumstances where you would have just given up. For example, when my mom's friends were watching my YouTube videos.
Yeah.
You know, it's it kind of like it really humbles you, and it shows you that you have to work really hard. It's not just gonna happen magically.
So what's some things that you're looking forward to? Things that you want to work on? Do you want to keep growing the YouTube? I know we talked about possibly getting you in here for future podcast stuff. What's some goals? What are things that you're looking forward to?
Well, you know, it's funny. It's funny you say that, because I feel like in this industry, in like the media industry in general, like we are the first generation doing this for a living. You know, we're the first people actually making money off the internet and creating content. This is not a thing that our parents did. And I feel like with it, you just kind of have to go with the flow and see where it takes you. Just take every opportunity that you can and work really, really hard and do your best every time, but then just see where it goes.
Yeah.
And, you know, I kind of had that mentality all of last summer too, which I would say is probably the first summer that I was like, okay, it's summer, it's fine. You know, I'm not going to die. It's cool. And like, I was able to, you know, do so much cool stuff. I did some segments for Golf Channel Latin America where I was doing golf fitness tips in Spanish, and you know, those air like 7 times a day all over Latin America, which is awesome. And then eventually they took me to Mayakoba for the Mayakoba Golf Classic, so I was commentating golf in Spanish, which was like out of this world. It was so weird, but it was also so awesome, you know. And then I was able to go to China, Dominican Republic. I was able to go to Kentucky, Pennsylvania, like all these awesome places that I just, you know, like you just have to say yes to things that come your way and see where it goes. So there's obviously a lot of things that I would like to accomplish. Like I would like to continue to grow my channel. I would like to get into like maybe different kinds of content so that I can become not just golf fitness, but also more like golf lifestyle. And that's something that I had tried to do in the past, but I didn't really have the best results with it. So I decided to stick to what I knew worked. But I mean, I feel like it's just such a part of who I am on social media. I am fit golfer girl, but it's not just fitness. It's also like golf and lifestyle and just being in South Florida and all that. So I would love to incorporate that into, you know, creating content in that way. But then I'm just open-minded, and I'm just like ready to say yes to whatever happens.
And that's cool because you almost have to start very specific, like a niche.
Yep.
You know, and then you can grow and test and see where you can take your audience. Because, you know, if you're just a very general, you know, there's no relatability at that point, you know. But if you are like a Latin golfer that is into fitness and lifestyle, then we're talking like, okay, other people are very, very much on the same page. And then you can be like, maybe I can make some clothes, or maybe I can go do food reviews, or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
But it's nice that you know, analyze that this is my niche and
Yeah.
I love to do this, and then we can grow from there.
And then, you know, another thing that I feel is important is that you have to do stuff that you don't mind doing or that you actually enjoy doing. You know, I think that, you know, Gary Vee, everybody knows Gary Vee. You know, he was talking about this guy who, you know, like some kid asked him, he's like, get so lazy. I just really don't want to do it. And, you know, he was like, this is actually your brain telling you that this is not what you should be doing. If you don't want to do it, you shouldn't be doing it. So I really think it matters that you are doing stuff that you are okay with putting in the hours, and, you know, you don't mind, you're not like lazy or dreading it. It's stuff that actually, you know, like makes you passionate.
I'd like to give a shout out to Gary Vee and D-Rock. I saw his post today, and it was on his iWatch that said, just say yes.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the truth. Just say yes to a lot of opportunities, because you never know what that is going to turn into. I know deep down inside you don't want the growth. but you're holding on to this insecurity, and all of a sudden you say yes and you do it and you realize, hey, it wasn't that bad. Look at the people I met. Look at the things I've learned. And that's actually been one more notch in the belt to just keep moving up.
Sure. I remember he said something was like, would you rather make $150,000 doing something you hate or be like a $75,000 Ninja Turtle YouTube reviewer? And you actually like what you do and you like are growing your passion. And he's like, you'll look forward to the weekends if you do the other path. Whereas like every day is a good day if you choose what you're actually into.
And like
finance.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, I was that person. I was making all the money, and I really initially the reason I went to finance is because I thought money is gonna solve all of my problems and it's gonna make me happy, and I'm gonna be, I had everybody's dream job, like the job that everybody wants, and it was hard. It's like, should I leave? But then I just looked at everyone around me, and when I started telling people that I was leaving, everybody was so happy for me. And I felt like they felt so
already knew,
trapped.
yeah.
They were cheering for you.
Yeah, they were so trapped because it was just too late. They didn't make the jump early enough. And I can tell you that I probably will never make as much as I was making back then. And that doesn't even matter. I wouldn't even consider going back to it.
You wake up on Monday and it's not so bad.
Even better. You don't suffer all of Sunday afternoon because the weekend's about to start.
Sure.
That was life-changing. To actually be able to like have peace of mind on Sundays, that you basically not get the Sunday scaries.
It's a real problem.
And to watch golf.
Oh, yeah, I mean, it sounds like a terrible life for me.
Right.
Well,
but
I was
self-awareness,
gonna say,
right?
Absolutely.
Self-awareness, learning that, hey, that's not what I want. This is more the path. I think that's the running theme of all of us, is we've all found that, and we've broken down the doors and said, all right, this is really what makes us happy and what we want to do.
And you know what? I feel like at a point where you give up a job like that, it's almost like this has to work, because if it doesn't work, I'm gonna have to go back to that life that I know I hate. So it was almost like a little bit of desperation, a little bit of like, I just need to exhaust every possibility in this side of my life to make it work, because otherwise I'm gonna have to go back there, and I know that sucks.
Sure.
So
you're
that
just
helped.
gonna manifest your own destiny.
There you
You're
go.
like, yeah, this is my path now.
Yeah, I mean, and it's not easy. You guys know. It seems really glamorous and it seems awesome on the internet when you're just watching the videos, but you forget all of the hours you spend editing. You forget all of the, like time that goes into it, all this stuff that you had to give up to do it. All the weekends that was beautiful outside and instead you had to stay inside. It is not easy, but honestly, I'm glad that I was patient enough to wait for it to pay off to a certain degree. I hope that it continues to pay off. It really has paid off, but I would love to just keep on going. And I know I will, because I'm just not going to stop working.
And I like Facebook memories for this reason.
Oh my God, I love
Correct.
Facebook memories.
When I watched like a video that I did 10 years ago on Facebook, which was like top of the line back then, like the TV wasn't widescreen. Like TVs used to be square. Do you remember? Like,
Yep.
Let's talk about our water housing.
Yeah, we made a camera water housing out of like an ammo box because it was sealed, and we just like drilled holes into it for a lens. But it's just really, really cool for all of us to, figure out what we like to do and just do it. Mm-hmm. Now, how can we find you online?
So I am on basically every social media platform as Fit Golfer Girl. I'm also on YouTube as Fit Golfer Girl. And basically you can't miss me. I'm Fit Golfer Girl everywhere.
I love it. Hey, why don't you give a shout out in Spanish to our Spanish listeners?
Bueno, para todos mis amigos que están escuchando en este momento en español, mi nombre es Carolina. Mucho gusto conocerlos a todos. Y bueno, que tenemos en común de que vivimos aquí en Palm Beach County, que es una zona hermosa en donde se vive muy bien. Y si alguna vez tienen la oportunidad de jugar golf, o si juegan golf, espero verlos pronto en el campo.
Amazing. I can only counter that with a tongue twister that his wife taught me that you might appreciate. Yo no compro coco porque poco coco como.
I remember that. That's like something you learn when you're like 5.
Yes.
And you're like, say it.
Exactly.
But after a couple margaritas, I can't remember the correct order of the words. So it's just like a slur, but yes.
I support it, especially the margaritas part.
Yeah.
Hey, we can't thank you enough for coming on the podcast today. And I know Mike, as well as I, Cheers.
Salud.
Cheers. Thank you so much for having me, and love to be back soon.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for listening to this week's episode of the Palm Beach Podcast, brought to you by Pump House Coffee Roasters, Indo Board, and Lotus Trips for travel and retreats to Palm Beach County.